like a Hellcat.
Hello and welcome back to the channel where once again it's time for another video, and today's video is the debut episode of my new series called First Impressions, where I take one of the games I picked up in recent times and play through the first hour or so of the game. I give that game an overall grade at the end of the video and pretty much decide whether I'm going to come back to it and possibly finish it at some point in the future, or whether it's one of these games that I'm never really going to play again and may well end up just sitting on the shelf for the rest of its lifespan, or indeed being sold. The first game in the episode is, of course, Dragonball Revenge of King Piccolo. Now, this is quite an expensive game to pick up now. If you buy it from CEX over here in the UK, it's going to set you back £45 now. I was lucky when I bought it. It was in the mid-20s a while back, but it has skyrocketed in price since then. It's a side-scrolling 2D beat-em-up with some platforming elements to it, and of course it is set in the Dragon Ball world. It was originally released in July of 2009 in Japan before being released in October of the same year on a worldwide scale. So the format for these videos is going to be pretty similar to my reviews. I'll of course talk about how they look, sound, play, what content and lifespan I think they've got on offer just from my first hour with the game before giving them an overall grade at the end of the video. So once the main menu hits, you'll see you've got Adventure, World Tournament, Shop, Options and Gallery. Heading into Options, you've got a few things you can tweak, with screen ratio and checking the button configuration probably being the main ones before you head onto Adventure mode, which is of course the main mode of play, which sees you playing through the Red Ribbon Saga through to the King Piccolo Saga.
The Dragon Balls, 7 legendary gems that grant any wish to the one who collects them all.
So once the game begins, you are given some background story regarding the Dragon Balls, telling you exactly what they are and what they do. And there's also plenty of interaction with all the characters that are going to be involved in that particular chapter. And it has got pretty decent voice acting too. So straight away, it sucks you into the world of Dragon Ball and gets you interested in the story. This is important for me because I love games that have got decent storyline and good involving characters. So Dragon Ball Revenge of King Piccolo actually started ticking boxes for me straight away. Now, with all of that said and done, I will of course get onto what I think this game looks like, sounds like, plays like, what kind of content and lifespan I think it could offer you, and of course whether it's going to be a game that I think I would return to and play through from start to finish.
Let's see. The radar Bulma gave me shows one around here somewhere. Okay, I'm here right now.
So I will start with visuals first, and I'll say that if you're familiar with the world of Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z, then you'll probably appreciate the graphical style of this game because it is bright and colourful and everything looks pretty much spot on, I feel, in regards to replicating the world of Dragon Ball. The cel-shaded graphical style for all of the characters as well is very, very good, and I think this is the best way for visualising Dragon Ball when you put it into a game. In terms of the animation, certainly from my first impressions at least, they're pretty good as well. Everything looks bang on in terms of all of the moves, and your character's special move when Goku pulls off a Kamehameha, it looks pretty decent. There's no noticeable slowdown on this game either, really. Regardless of how many enemies are on screen attacking you, I think it holds up really well and it performs pretty well too. The only thing I'd probably say that is a little bit of a negative is because there isn't that many attacks to pull off, you probably will find the animations a little bit repetitive because of course with it being a side-scrolling beat-em-up, you will be seeing the same attacks over and over again. So moving on to the sound effects and music, and I was very impressed with this straight away because the voices for the characters sounded very familiar. So what I did was go back and check all the voice actors for this game and compare them with the voice actors from the Funimation dubs of the original Dragon Ball series from 1986 to 1989. And I found that all the characters had all their original voices, which I think is incredible, and the developers of the game deserve a massive amount of credit for being able to get all of those voice actors on board to do this. I've no idea how easy that is to pull off, but I think the fact that they've done it just gives the game a real sense, I should say, of authenticity, and it is really, really good. In terms of all the sound effects within the battles, I think they're absolutely fantastic as well. You can tell it is Dragon Ball straight away, and I'm not somebody who has a massive amount of Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z experience. I've seen some of it here and there, but I haven't seen all of the episodes of all of the series at all. But I do think it sounds really, really good, and as well as that, the music for the game seems to be spot on as well. I feel the tracks are really funky, they're quite lively, and they do seem to fit the environments for the game as well. So what I will do is give you a few examples of the musical tracks for you to listen to yourselves. Now moving on to the gameplay next, and the game is broken up into two playing styles, with the first being the adventure mode, which is the side-scrolling beat-em-up and platforming sections. This part of the game is very easy to pick up and play, and it's easy to learn because there's nothing overly complicated, no overly complicated combos or controls, and it means you can just pick it up, play through a couple of levels, and have a great time doing so. You don't have to worry about doing any silly motion controls either, because you can just simply use a classic controller, and that means for me it's very good to play. In terms of long-term play appeal, yes, it doesn't have much depth whatsoever. Once you've learnt the basic controls and attacks, that will pretty much seemingly get you through the whole entire game, certainly from my first impressions at least anyway. I don't think it's one of these games where you're going to learn new moves as you progress through the game. Now, the second mode of play is the one-on-one fighting area where you can have a world martial arts tournament, and you can do this one player or two player. Pick your character and you will be in an enclosed arena where you have to battle and make your opponent lose all of their health before you go on to the next round. Of course, this just employs the same controls as the standard game, so there isn't really anything different to see in terms of the actual moves and stuff here, but it does break it up and give you another mode of play, just to have a little bit of variety in the gameplay. So I do feel overall this game does play very well in terms of a pick up and play game. It's not going to give you that long-term depth, so if that's what you're looking for in a gameplay experience, you're probably not going to get that here. So moving on to the content and lifespan, and there are 6 chapters within the game and several levels within each one. So it'll take you a reasonable amount of time, I feel, to play through the main adventure mode. Obviously, you've got the World Martial Arts Tournament mode as well, which you need to play through with every single character to be able to unlock everything in the shop. And of course, the shop is the big thing in terms of the lifespan of the game, because you want to keep going back in there when you get more zenny from playing the game to unlock more stuff. And this is the way it should be in a game. Unlockable content should be able to be unlocked via playing the game, collecting money, something like that, and then adding that content to the game. What frustrates me so much about brand new releases is the fact that basically all the hidden content and stuff is just hidden behind DLC codes that you've just got to pay even more money for. And that's really frustrating when you outlay 40, 50, 60 pounds on a game now, and then you can't actually play through the whole game because you've got to spend even more money on the downloadable add-ons. It's really frustrating. So when you come back to a game like this and everything is here and you can just simply unlock it all by playing through the game, it is a massive plus point, and it's actually really refreshing. In terms of how long do I think it would take to play through the entire one-player story and unlock everything in the game, I'm going to take a guess around about 15 hours, just based on my first impressions anyway. And of course, the fact you've got 2-player mode as well does mean the game has got a pretty decent lifespan, certainly from my first impressions at least anyway.
Here you go! What are you doing?
Now that leaves me with my final question. What kind of grade am I going to give Dragon Ball Revenge of King Piccolo? And is it the kind of game that I would come back to and finish off in future? Well, I'll let you in on a secret because I've actually played this game multiple more times since I recorded the footage. I'm actually at the end of the second chapter now, and I've done the world tournament with several characters too, so that should tell you, I think, quite a lot about the way this game plays and its appeal. Now, it's not going to give you massive depth, but it is great pick up and play fun for about 30 minutes at a time. Play through a couple of levels or a couple of world tournaments with different characters, and you will enjoy your time with the game. So I'm going to give this game a final grade of a B+, because I think even if you don't like Dragon Ball, you can still enjoy this game, which is actually a good thing. Now, is it worth the £45 that CEX currently charge for this game? I don't think so, no. It's not the kind of game that's going to give you enough sort of lifespan and playthrough time to warrant that kind of price tag. So if you're going to want to add it to your collection, I'd probably try and find it cheaper off eBay or play it in an alternative manner, if you know what I mean. But of course, these are just my thoughts and my thoughts alone. If you've played this game from start to finish, let me know what your thoughts are on Dragon Ball Revenge of King Piccolo. And like always, I'll be back in the near future with another video. Goodbye for now.